The death of Yoon Seol's parents strangled her as she cried out. Since her parents were gone, her grandfather was the only one she had. Most of the children teased and mocked her, but her grandfather used to console her. Therefore, she always tried to do whatever her grandfather wanted. But when she accidentally found out that her grandfather was suffering from late-stage pancreatic cancer, she realized that she had very little time left to fulfill her grandfather's wishes. Yoon Seol's grandfather told her uncle that before he passed away, his greatest wish was to escort Yoon Seol to her wedding. This revelation left Yoon Seol stunned. She never imagined her grandfather would want her to get married so soon. As she sat deep in thought, she couldn't believe that, of all things, his final wish was to see her as a bride. She understood that he was worried about her future, which was why he wanted to witness her wedding, but she believed she wouldn't be alone. Uncle Gil Young and Aunt Sungyim would always be there for her. Besides, she still felt far too young for marriage. Just then, Seokyun entered the room from behind and casually asked if she wanted to grab lunch with him. Without answering, Yoon Seol grabbed his arm and pulled him along, insisting that he just follow her. Once outside, Seokyun, sensing something was off, hesitated before asking if she was upset because he had been late to class again. He promised to be on time from now on. But before he could say more, Yoon Seol suddenly turned to him and, out of nowhere, proposed. She asked if he would marry her. Seokyun was completely taken aback. They both stood there, embarrassed, before he finally smiled and agreed. He admitted that the proposal was very sudden, but since it was Yoon Seol asking, how could he possibly say no? However, he then suggested they wait until they were 30 since they were still too young, leaving Yoon Seol shocked once again. Seokyun received a call from his friend, who asked where he was, telling him to hurry up, saying there were a lot of pretty girls around and that it was really great. Seokyun is delighted that he was glad there was already someone interesting on the first day. Seokyun told Yoon Seol that they could continue tomorrow because today he wanted to play first and see what might happen. Yoon Seol denied it, saying they didn't have to continue as she was just kidding. Seokyun pulled her cheeks, stating that he knew it, though his heart had been pounding earlier. Laughing it off, he bid her goodbye, saying he would see her tomorrow as he moved out. Yoon Seol, on her way out, was frustrated and called Seokyun stupid, questioning what she had done and wondering what she expected from someone like Seokyun, who had never been serious. She thought about how he couldn't take her seriously and wondered if her face didn't look serious enough. As she stumbled upon someone, she apologized. The handsome man stated that next time she was walking, she should pay attention to the road and not daydream. Yoon Seol responded that if he saw her daydreaming, he could avoid her. Instead, he had walked toward her, and if he had done it purposely, she moved out of the way, asking what was so hard about saying sorry. Out of nowhere, a speeding car came rushing from behind. The man instinctively grabbed Yoon Seol, pulling her back forcefully to prevent her from getting hurt. The sudden movement caused them both to stumble and fall onto the car's bonnet, making them kiss each other. An awkward tension filled the air as Yoon Seol quickly stepped back. The man immediately explained that he hadn't meant to grab her like that. It was just because the car had come so suddenly. Feeling embarrassed, Yoon Seol apologized and suggested they just forget the whole thing happened, agreeing that they had both had a rough day. As she turned to leave, the man smirked and asked if she wasn't going to thank him, or at least make up for the kiss they had just shared. Caught off guard, Yoon Seol flushed and demanded to know what he meant, insisting their lips had barely touched and that she had never even kissed anyone before. The man chuckled and asked why she assumed he hadn't kissed anyone before. Then, teasingly, he added that it really seemed like she hadn't. Annoyed, Yoon Seol scoffed and questioned what was so great about him anyway, firmly stating that she didn't even remember what happened. The man only smiled, saying that if that was true, then it meant she hadn't thanked him for saving her. He then added with a knowing look that people usually don't forget their first kiss so easily. Yoon Seol, quite angry about this, claimed it was the 108th first kiss that she wouldn't remember. Thanking him as she moved out, she called him a perverted guy and told him not to talk to her again if they ever met, to which the man remarked that 108th kiss was quite interesting. The scene shifted to the classroom, where Seokyun, Yoon Seol, and their friends were chatting. Seokyun suggested they should all go out together, mentioning that Sujin always picked fun places and often treated them. He added that they were lucky to have such a generous friend. Sujin clung to Seokhyun, laughing as she said that he always brightened the mood and made everything feel lively. Without him, things were dull. Just then, the professor entered, and the students greeted him. As they settled down, Yoon Seol's friends began whispering about a new student, while Yoon Seol couldn't shake the feeling that he looked oddly familiar. The professor then announced that they had a guest lecturer who would be teaching the entrepreneurship course for the next semester. The man stepped forward, thanked the professor, and introduced himself as Mr. Kang Jun-young. As he glanced in Yoon Seol's direction, she immediately recognized him. If she wasn't mistaken, he was that irritating guy from yesterday. As the girls are quite impressed and happy, they call out that he can start the class. The girls whisper that with a handsome professor like this, they are sure to always attend class, while Yoon Seol, hiding behind the book, thinks that being handsome is useless if one is annoying, as she bites down on her book while remembering the incident that happened before. A friend asked what's wrong with her. Jun-young calls for the girl who is holding the book, questioning her name. As Yoon Seol gets nervous, she introduces herself as Choi Yoon Seol. Jun-young states that he just learned that biting her book can help understand its content, making the other students laugh. Jun-young continues to explain page 108, but corrects it to page 10 and 8th point, smiling as he tells her to go ahead questioning what she knows from page 10.8. The scene shifts after the class where Sujin is surprised to see Mr. Jun-young enter the class earlier. She asks why he didn't tell her earlier that he would be teaching here. She suggests they should have coffee after this, as there is a nice cafe nearby. Jun-young denies this, stating that he has something to take care of afterward, remarking that it's not appropriate for a professor and a student to have coffee together, to which Sujin laughs. The nearby students ask Sujin if she knows Jun-young, and she confirms that their families know each other. She also just found out that Jun-young became a guest lecturer here, apologizing that she usually calls him Jun-young. The girls are surprised that the two of them are already that close and are jealous. Sujin asks them not to make it a big deal, as she is not comfortable with others knowing. Jae-in states that isn't she the one making a big deal out of it, saying to Yoon Seol that she is craving jampong, and they should eat first. Yoon Seol apologizes, stating that she's just going to go straight home as she is feeling unwell. As she moves out, her friend questions if she is okay, to which Yoon Seol replies that it's okay, she just needs to rest, and she's just a little tired, that's all. Following out to Jun-young, she calls out to him, asking if they can talk for a moment. Upon reaching him, she apologizes that their first meeting didn't go well but asks if they cannot bring the issue into class. Jun-young asks if she doesn't remember him, as he never brings personal issues into his class. He just acts like a professor who advises his students, telling her not to be arrogant, leaving Yoon Seol quite troubled. The scene shifts to Yoon Seol's home, where Yoon Seol gets a call from her grandfather asking how she is. Yoon Seol states that she is good and asks about his health. The grandfather replies that he is also well and not to worry, stating that this Saturday he will go to Seoul. He adds that he is going to meet the son of his friend, whom he already considers like a nephew, and maybe she can come too. Yoon Seol agrees, saying that luckily, she doesn't have any plans, as she bids goodbye to him. Upon ending the call, she is quite worried about her grandfather. The scene shifts to the next day, where the grandfather meets Mr. Tae-jin, stating that the company owner should not need to welcome him directly at the front gate and that he's behaving improperly. Mr. Tae-jin welcomes him, stating that he is not coming out to meet him but to see this young lady quickly. The grandfather introduces that they are the children of his friend Jun-young Dong-won. They were also friends with her late parents, introducing them as Mr. Tae-jin and Haesuk. He adds that Mr. Tae-jin is the owner of TJ Corp., to which Yoon Seol states that she knows and greets them. Mr. Tae-jin greets her back, stating that it's great to see her like this, and she has grown into a beautiful person. Moving inside, Mr. Tae-jin apologizes that he's sorry that he came all the way here when he could have gone to his place instead. The grandfather laughs, saying that he is well, as he just wanted to see his friend's child and that the family is doing well. Mr. Tae-jin adds to tell Yoon Seol that his grandfather has contributed greatly to their family. Without him, TJ Corp wouldn't be where it is today. The grandfather asks him not to say that, as he was just helping his relative, and if he were in the same situation, he is sure anyone would do the same. Moving inside the luxurious home, Mr. Taejin apologizes to Yoon Seol for never meeting her since her parents passed away, and he's glad that her grandfather could raise her well. As Haesuk comes in, stating that he should not ruin this happy moment, she says that Yoon Seol now looks sad as she apologizes for it. Yoon Seol states that it's not like that, as she is okay. Mr. Taejin says that if that's the case, from now on they should meet often, and if she needs anything, she can just contact her uncle directly. He laughs, stating that if she is willing, she can be his daughter from now on, and he will give her cute younger siblings and an older brother too. Haesuk laughs, stating that he should be careful as he always wants a daughter, whining because he only has sons. From behind, Mr. Taejin's child comes in. Mr. Taejin states that this is their second child, Junseo, and asks him to say hello. As Junseo comes in to greet them, the grandfather observes, stating that this is the first time he has met his second child, and he looks so much like him. The last time they met, Junseo wasn't around yet, and he feels like he is getting older. As another child comes in, Mrs. Haesuk states that this is her first child. As Jun Young appears, Yoon Seol gets jolted, and both of them get surprised to see each other. The scene shifts into the corridor where Jun Young encounters Yoon Seol, saying he didn't expect they would meet again and that it seems like this is indeed fate. Yoon Seol gets surprised, as she laughs, stating that, as they say, the world is small. As she moves aside, stating that they should start over, she thanks him for saving her and apologizes. Jun Young moves out, stating that she said she didn't remember back then, and asks if she's not remembering what they did. Yoon Seol asks him not to mention the details as she remembers everything, since she was the one who made a mistake back then. Jun Young states that apart from in class, she just has to call him Jun Young, and they should talk more casually, to which Yoon Seol states that he is older than her by several years, and he's her senior as well as he has more experience. Jun Young teases Yoon Seol, asking if she means the first experience, as he has only felt it once, not comparable to her, who has done it 108 times, asking if that's right. Yoon Seol gets angry, screaming that he's really annoying, and she is like this because of her grandfather and her parents. She asks him to be careful if he calls her in class, as they don't know each other in class. Jun Young says this is what he had been waiting for, as there is no need to pretend to be nice, and it's not a good fit for her, as he moves past. The scene shifts towards the campus where Yoon Seol's friend states that it seems like Jun Young has feelings for her, to which Yoon Seol jokes to agree that it's the feelings of anger. But Jae-jian states that, for example, when they were late to class earlier, she immediately became a target, even though Seokyeon was also a little late and nothing happened to him. Yoon Seol replies Jae-jian, stating that they should not make a big deal out of it, while Sujin states that it seems unlikely. As far as she knows, Jun Young likes women who are smart and elegant. She corrects herself, saying that it's not that Yoon Seol is not elegant, but she knows the standard that Jun Young likes, to which Yoon Seol states that she has no problem, as he is also not her type. Yoon Seol states that even though she's currently looking for a potential husband, Jun Young will never be a choice. Sujin agrees to it, saying there must be many competitors, and she needs to go now. She bids farewell as she moves out. Jae-jian screams at Yoon Seol, asking if she's looking for a potential husband, if she's not just saying this, and if she really wants to get married. Yoon Seol explains everything to her, as Jae-jian gets surprised, asking if she's serious. Yoon Seol states that she is serious. Since yesterday, she has been trying to find someone on dating apps, and she even asked at Seokyeon. Jae-jian is surprised, asking if Yoon Seol is joking, then why was he embarrassed? To which Yoon Seol says that he didn't refuse, but he just thought that she was joking. Jae-jian states that she can't just marry anyone, and she has to find someone who is established and mature. She suggests that Yoon Seol should go on a blind date, as she will contact her aunt who runs a matchmaking agency. They don't just pair up anyone, and she will ask for this Saturday. The scene shifts to Saturday, at a hotel, where Yoon Seol messages Jae-jian that she is already in the lobby of the hotel and asks what she should do. From behind, a person comes in, asking if she is Yoon Seol, to which she abides, but she is taken aback. Here, she realized finding the right man seems not to be easy as she encounters